right, and we are back here on the GSMC football podcast. And for the third part of the show, we are now going to preview. Well, we're going to start off our previews with previewing the early window games for Week 6. But before I do that, once again, I want to remind you guys to get your comments recognized and to donate or tip to the show. Make sure to go to streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. Again, that really helps the show. And for bonus coverage materials that are not covered by this broadcast, make sure to go to patreon.com and search up GSMC Sports Network. And that is where you can find all of your exclusive content. So, with that, let's get into the third part of the show, which is previewing the early window games for this weekend. So, obviously, we're going to start in London. We got the early game there. The Ravens and the Titans, these are two teams that know each other well. Obviously, the Ravens and the Titans, they've played each other a couple of times in the playoffs. There was also that game they played in Baltimore during COVID. Well, they played each other twice during the COVID year. Derrick Henry had that walk-off touchdown in overtime. The year before that, the Titans came into Baltimore. Ravens were the 1 seed. Lamar Jackson was the MVP. And the Titans won that game. And then Lamar got his revenge, his first playoff victory ever. And, he was able to best the Titans in that. These teams know each other well. Although, the Titans aren't as good as they were. Obviously, Derrick Henry's getting older. Tannehill isn't as good as he was, a few years ago. They don't have A.J. Brown anymore. They have DeAndre Hopkins now, who actually is coming off of his best game of the season with the Titans, so that's encouraging. This is a different Titans team from a few years ago. And the Ravens are coming off of both teams are coming off losses. Titans 23-16 loss to the Colts, and the Ravens losing a very bad game to the Steelers 17-10. A lot of drops and turnovers, and if that doesn't happen, then the Ravens probably win that game. So the spread is +4. I like the Ravens to win the game. The over-under is 42. I'd maybe take the over in the game. I could definitely see this being a close game. I know the Titans, I just can't seem to figure them out. They're so inconsistent. They blow out the Bengals, and then they lose to the Colts. I don't really know. Can't really get a gauge on them. The line was, I think, +3, but now it's up to +4. I like the Ravens in this game. I think they could cover that number. I just don't really like the Titans. I think the Ravens are the better team. Ravens are coming off a bad loss as well. I like them in this matchup to win the game and to cover, so I'll take the Ravens in that matchup. So we'll move on now. And now we're actually back to where I started before I was alerted that I had no sound. So that's good. All right, so let's get into now Washington and Atlanta. So Atlanta's unbeaten at home. Washington, they're coming off of that blowout loss to the Bears on Thursday night. I like the Falcons in this game right now. The spread, Washington's getting the points. They're getting 2.5. I don't like these 2.5 point spreads. I'm not very good at picking them. But you know what? I think Atlanta, they're good at home. Washington, their defense did not play well last week. Sam Howell did have a good game, so I think he's going to put up points. But you know what? I like Atlanta at home. Their defense is kind of underrated too. And Desmond Ridder actually has never lost a home game since he's become the starter for the Falcons. So you know what? I'm gonna go with the Falcons in this game. I think they cover the spread. So give me the Falcons in that game. So now we move on to the next game. We got the Vikings and the Bears, a pair of 1-4 teams. Two teams that are going in the same direction. Actually, I shouldn't say that. The Bears, they came off of that huge win against Washington. The Vikings again losing again. Another one-score game to the Chiefs last week, 27-20. And they also lost their best player, Justin Jefferson, who got placed on IR with the hamstring. So, I like the I like the Bears right now are +3. I mean, it was at +2.5. I like the Bears to win outright. I just think the Vikings, they don't really run the football well. Now they're losing Justin Jefferson. Their defense really isn't that good. I mean, I could see the Vikings definitely winning this game, but I think the Bears, right now, Justin Fields looks like he's playing better. DJ Moore had his breakout game, and I look for that. And, Cole Kmet, he's been looking better as of late as well. Although the one thing that does concern me is the fact that, Roshan Johnson, I think that's how you pronounce his name, I think, and Khalil Herbert are most likely aren't good. Well, Khalil Herbert's not going to play in this game. I don't know what Johnson, I think, is still questionable. So they're kind of dealing with some injuries in their backfield. Deontay Foreman, I think, might finally actually play because he keeps being healthy scratches for these games. But that's the one thing that concerns me is the injuries to the backfield. But I don't know. I just think without Jefferson now, and they can't really run the football, the Vikings, and they turn the ball over a lot too. I think the Bears being at home, I think they win this game. So I'll take the Bears and I'll lay the points. All right. So the next game, this is a good game. This is one of the better games of the weekend as well, and that is the Bengals and the Seahawks. Seahawks are coming off of a bye. Bengals, big win over the Cardinals. Joe Burrow looked a lot better. Jamar Chase had 3 touchdowns. Yeah, I like the Bengals at home. Listen, the Seahawks, I again wouldn't be surprised if they they win this game, but I liked what I saw from the Bengals last week. I know it was against the Cardinals, but I just think that the Burrow's starting to get healthier. You could see it. And they got Jamar Chase going. Joe Mixon, he's been running the football well this year for them. T. Higgins, you hope he comes back. So if they got their full array of weapons and they're at home, I think they win the game here. But it should be a good game. The over/under is 45. I think there could be a decent amount of scoring in this game, so I think maybe you take the over. So I'll take the Bengals to win outright at home. So now we move on to the next early window game here. So we got the 49ers and the Browns. Right now the Browns are a 10-point underdog at home, and that's because Deshaun Watson will not be playing on Sunday again. It looks like it's going to be P.J. Walker. I probably would take. I am taking the Niners, laying the points. I mean, listen, we saw what the Browns did with DTR, quarterback against the Ravens. I mean, they really couldn't get anything going, and the 49ers are just right now the best team in the NFL. And listen, the Browns, they have a very good defense, but listen, the 49ers, I mean, the Ravens, look what the Ravens did to them without, Watson. Imagine what the 49ers are going to do. I mean, Brock Purdy right now looks like he looks like maybe the favorite to win MVP at the moment. And Christian McCaffrey is a part of that conversation as well. I mean, I think he has also another guy that has a touchdown in like every single game. So, I mean, what else is there to say? 49ers, I think, win this game pretty handily. I think they cover the number. Because in my spread, like with the spread pools on CBS, like the lines don't change. So right now, the spread is still at 5.5. I mean, it jumped all the way up to 10 because now they got P.J. Walker starting, and it's gonna be a rough day for him. I mean, dealing with Nick Bosa in that front. And that Browns defense is going to have their hands full because you got to cover Deebo Samuel, Ayuk, McCaffrey, Kittle. I mean, it's just you got weapons all over the place. I just, I really don't see the Browns making this game competitive at all. So, 49ers win this game pretty handily. And, I'm going to lay the points there, of course. So now we move into another game here, and this could be an interesting game here. So you got the Houston Texans, who are 2-3 against the 3-2 Saints. The Texans, tough loss last week against the Falcons. Saints are 3-2 after blowing out the Patriots last week, 34-0. Texans right now are +1.5. I don't feel confident about it. I could definitely see the Texans pulling off the upset here, but I'm going to take the Saints. I still think they're the better team right now at the moment. Alvin Kamara's back, and he's looked good so far. Derek Carr hopefully, gets it going. Michael Thomas has gotten off to a good start this year. So, and listen, that's very encouraging, seeing that. So I like the Saints here, although, again, I wouldn't be surprised if the Texans pull off the upset because they've been playing well this year. C.J. Stroud has been playing very well, with the young wide receivers he's got at his disposal. So we'll see what happens, but I like the Saints in this game. So now we move on to the Colts and the Jaguars. Now, obviously, these two teams played each other in Week 1. The Jaguars got the win there, although Anthony Richardson will not be playing in this matchup. Right now, the Colts are a 4-point underdog. Gardner Minshew will be getting the start, so he'll be playing against his former team. The Jags, they picked up that huge win in London against the Bills. And the Colts, they obviously picked up a big win against the Titans. So both teams are 3-2. And right now, I would take the Colts. I'm going to take the Colts with the points here. The Jags, they haven't really been like... Listen, I think the big reason why they won last week, and a lot of people would say that, is because of, the Bills getting there late on London, and they were in London like all week, So I just think that I think here now I just think the Colts, they can keep it close at least. You got Jonathan Taylor back, and Minshew's a serviceable backup. The Colts have been playing good. They've been playing good. I mean, they beat the Titans. They had that upset win against the Ravens in Baltimore a couple weeks ago. So, I like them in this spot here to cover the number. So I'll take the Colts, but I think the Jags probably still win. But yeah, I like the Jags. The Colts with the points. And then the final early window game here, we have the Dolphins and the Panthers. Two teams that are going in very different directions. The Panthers are 0-5 right now. Bryce Young threw 3 touchdowns last week, but it was in a blowout loss to the Lions. So now they're going up against the Dolphins, who can put up points as well. This is going to be a long game for the Dolphins. Did I just say the long game for the Dolphins? Long game for the Panthers. Dolphins right now are 13.5-point favorites. I probably go with. The Dolphins cover that spread, I think. There's really no scenario in which I see the Panthers, coming out on top. Can they move the ball on them, on the Dolphins defensively? Maybe. They might put up some points, but I just think the Dolphins with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, they're just going to run all over that defense. Obviously, the Dolphins are going to be missing Devon Achane, their running back, who, he was awesome. And, of course, he has to get hurt. I think Jeff Wilson's supposed to come back this week, so that's good. You still got Mostert. So, the Dolphins are going to be fine. But the way Achane was running the football, he was huge. He was huge, So, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But, I really just don't. I really don't see a scenario in which the Dolphins lose this game. They're going to be 5-1. Panthers are going to be 0-6. Just not looking good. There's some question marks with Frank Reich too. Some people are having with him as the head coach. They just don't look good. So, but that's the one. Not the 1 o'clock, but the early slate of games. So I'll just run through them one more time. So I got the Ravens winning the game and covering the spread, covering the +4 in London. Got the Falcons covering the 2.5-point spread at home against Washington. I got the Bears winning outright against the Vikings. I have the Bengals covering the 2.5-point spread at home against the Seahawks. Niners covering that 10-point spread against the Browns. The Saints winning against the Texans, covering that 1.5-point spread. The Colts, maybe not necessarily winning outright, but at least covering the 4-point spread against the Jags. And then I have the Dolphins, who will be covering the 13.5-point spread against the Panthers at home. So those are all the early window games. So with that, we're gonna next on the show. We are going to. Didn't want to do that. Went backwards. Sorry, everybody. Final segment of the show. We are going to. We're going to preview all the late window games. So we'll go through the Patriots and the Raiders. We obviously did highlight the Lions and the Bucks. Also, yeah, so we don't have to do that. The Cardinals and the Rams will go through. Jets and Eagles. And then, of course, we will have to talk about the Sunday night matchup between the Buffalo Bills. I mean, we don't have to talk about it, but we should because, got to cover every game. We will talk about the Buffalo Bills and the New York Giants, their Sunday night matchup. I'll give my thoughts on that when we come back from our final break of the show. So stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.